Good morning, all saints. You should say that louder. You're saints. You were just told. Good morning, all saints. Good morning. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. So, Father Paulicus has already introduced me to you. And he gave you some stories about how God has blessed us together in our walk, in our sainthood walk. And I wanted to give you a little bit of history so you can see how we got here. Those of you who came after 10 years or 11 years ago. There's a wonderful story in the book of Nehemiah about how the small remnant of Israel set out to rebuild the walls of Jerusalem after they had been destroyed. To onlookers at the time, it was a seemingly impossible task. In the story, we read that the remnant was able to rebuild the wall because, and this is a part that caught my attention, the people had a mind to work. About 11 years ago, the vestry at All Saints, after years of functioning without any definitive leadership and against the very real threat that the diocese may close the church, decided that we couldn't let that happen. To do this, though, we needed to call a priest. We didn't have a priest at the time. But which priest would answer a call to a church in expensive New York with a $57,000 budget? What could that do? It seemed a seemingly impossible task. We didn't really have the money, but we had faith in God that He would provide for us. And we had a vestry at the time and a congregation that was determined to keep the church going. So what do you think happened? A very young, where is he? Stephen Paulicus answered the call and decided to take that walk of faith with us, even though on paper it didn't appear that we could pay him. And under his visionary ministry and the faithful stewardship of the small congregation, we began to rebuild. God led people into this church. God led all of you who came after that time into this church. And you have joined us since then in the rebuilding and replenishing. Each year since then, we have increased and met our budget, and today our faith has extended to $250,000. That's going to take more faith, and that's going to take a lot more giving, right? So each year we increase the budget. You gave of your money, and you gave of your talent. Today we have a budget of $250,000. I believe we can meet this budget because the one constant we have in this congregation is a congregation of faithful stewards of what God has entrusted us with. Not just our money, but our gifts and talents. How do I know this? The evidence is right here. Every Sunday, we walk into church where the altar is gloriously decorated and everything is ready. It's not magic. It's not magic. It's our hard-working altar guild. And I'll tell you this little secret. Every time we have a legal problem, we have two people who I choose to call our lawyers in residence. Devin, who we are going to vote for next week, and Jennifer. They have saved us a lot of money by using their expertise to help us. On Sundays, we are blessed with the melodious voices of a volunteer choir. Volunteer. There are some churches who have to pay their choir members. Our choir volunteers their voices. Later on, you're going downstairs to a wonderfully decorated room and food that was lovingly prepared and gifted to the church by some of the members of the congregation. I could go on and on about the different ways you, our members, have helped to keep this church going with the gifts of your talents at time. We are still a congregation with a mind to build. We completed the renovations downstairs during the pandemic. Our choir is building up again. Our parents and Sunday school teachers have rebounded with a vibrant Sunday school. We helped to establish one immigrant family, but there's a lot more to be done. Like most churches, we have been negatively impacted by the pandemic. Many of us are conflicted about returning to church. We need you to return consistently, and we need volunteers to rebuild and replenish many of our lay ministries. Likewise, we need to replenish our funds, as our giving is going down. I'm telling you that. I'm an investor, so I know, right? So our giving is going down, and we need you to replenish our funds, right? Okay. So I encourage you to go online and prayerfully fill out your stewardship card so that we can meet our budget of $250,000. Think of coming from $57,000 to $250,000. Think of that. Only God can make that happen. Only God can make that happen. And we are trusting in God to make that happen. Those of you who do not want to go online, we'll also have some hard copies so that you can do it in the church when you come. Today is your opportunity to volunteer as well. We have a ministry fair that displays all our ministries that need volunteers. As you leave church today, just before you get to the door, make a sharp left and go downstairs. And downstairs you'll see some tables with all the ministries you can volunteer for. Please stop by and sign up. We need you. We need you, as our stewardship theme says, to return, to rebuild, and to replenish. So all saints, let's join together and let's put our trust in God again, because we are still a congregation that has a mind to work. God bless you.